So this is the example where we try to see how the ratio can help us to find angle. So before we can do this, right, you got to observe your calculator button. So remember there are the 3 calculator button. By now you should have used the button quite a bit. But did you observe that at the top of it, there is a function with a -1? So this is called the sine inverse. So this is called the cosine inverse. This is called the tangent inverse. Okay, so it should be on top of the button. And most of you, right, if you need to activate this function, you got to activate it with your shift. Okay, some of you maybe it's a second function or shift function. Okay, so how are we going to do that? So do you remember that, right? I mentioned, right, we cannot detach this. The sine and angle cannot be detached. So how are you going to find the angle when the ratio is 0.4? So 0.4 means it's something like 4/10. So when the ratio is 4/10. So how does the ratio of 4/10 look like? So I can draw for you first. So the ratio of 4/10 is like this. So the opposite is 4. The hypotenuse is 10. So how am I going to find the angle in such a way that the ratio is like this? So you actually activate your inverse function. You try pressing it. You activate the inverse function. You will get 23.578, which you will round off to 23.6 degrees. So O-level standard, it will be 1 dp for angles in degree. Okay, so the next one, it is a cosine and the ratio is 0.578. So I can draw. Then what would be the ratio be, right? It's up to you, you change it to fraction. So this will be the A, and then this will be the hypotenuse. So in such a case, right, what will be the angle? So again, you activate your inverse function. So try punching your calculator. You activate, so you shift cosine, try pressing, shift cosine, then 0.578. Did you get 54.69, which is 54.7 degrees? So in the same way, tangent, we got a ratio. So this ratio can be 154/100. So tangent is O/A. So you might want to visualize it in this way. How does it become a rectangle? I don't know how it works. So let's get a triangle where the opposite is 154, the adjacent is 100. And I need to find the angle. So I activate the inverse. So you got to press extra button. So you only press the extra button when you're finding the value of angle. Or else, right, please don't press. So the activation of the inverse is only for the angles. So for this ratio, you got to be a bit more careful. Are you finding length or are you finding angle? If you're finding angle, you got to activate the inverse. If you're not finding angles, you're finding length, then that just will be the normal button. The procedure will be very much the same. The procedure will be very much the same. You identify the angle and the 90. You identify your OAH. Then you realize who is useless. Same method. So who is useless? No algebra, no length. So in this case, right, O and H. So I'll be using the sin X formula. So put in your O, put in your H. So exactly the same way, doesn't change. Except that, of course, you don't have the angle. And except that you got to remember, you got to activate the inverse. So once you forget to activate the inverse, the angle will be a bit weird. You'll find your angle like 0.0 something. So by now, you should have gotten used to your OAH. So nothing changes. Your hypotenuse, you should be very good with your hypotenuse. And then you're going to decide who is useless. No algebra, no length. So leaving me with O and A, that will be the TOA formula. Put in your O, put in your A. So that will be just like a normal formula. Okay, so we are finding angle. So activate the inverse. So remember, you are giving it to 1 dp. O-level standard will be 1 dp. So the procedure will still be the same. The 90 degree will tell you where's the hypotenuse. The angle will tell you where is your O and A. Then you got to decide who is useless, and whatever left behind is the one telling you which formula. The formula can be used to find length. The formula can be used to find angle. So it's just that when you're finding angles, you got to activate the extra function on top of your calculator.